Good morning, TTC fam. It's Sandra, TTC 45. I am coming to you guys with a TTC update, and this is the first update in 2 years. That's how long it's been since I did one of these updates. So today I am on my way to my OBGYN. Now this was my annual exam appointment that should have been done back in March, but due to the COVID-19 they have rescheduled it quite a few times. So finally I'm getting to go to him, which is the first step to my journey to baby number 2, because in order for me to see the RE, I either need to get a referral from him or a referral from my primary. And I think I can break him into giving me that referral better than I could do my primary care. So I am going to see him today to get my annual exam done. I'm not going to mention anything about the referral to the very end of the visit, and the reason being is because he and I had somewhat of a discussion about the possibility of me having another child after I gave birth to Pebbles, and I can tell that from that discussion he really wasn't on board with that. And you know, it's understandable. You know, doctors really don't want to have to be responsible for caring for a mom who is over the age of 45 years old, because you know that's a very high risk pregnancy and a lot is put on them, especially if they're the ones that are giving you the referral to go ahead and do that. So if they give you that referral to go ahead and do that, basically they're stating that, okay, I'm okay with this. But in actuality, you know, they probably just doing it because you're their patient and this is what you really want, even though they're not with the idea of you having a child at this late in age. I am 47 years old, and in 1 week from, what's today? Tuesday? 1 week from today? No, 1 week from tomorrow, I'm sorry. This is where I was last year, last time. I am 1 week from tomorrow, I will be 48 years old, yes. So I said to myself, if I'm going to have another baby, I need to get that done before I turn 50, so this will be the perfect time to get this done. Although I still plan on not doing this to either September or October. It depends on how my cycle falls with my trip that I have planned in September. So if September, you know, my cycle doesn't fall where they can do it either before or after I come back, then it's definitely going to take place in October. I'm not going to do it before then, because that's the plan that I want to do the transfer. So once I get the referral from my OBGYN, then I will get a call from the RE clinic. Of course, you got to go through the process of having a first-time interview to discuss, you know what you want to do or what have you. And of course, when it comes to REs, they don't care how old you is. If you are within the age limit to have transfers, they will still want that money. You know, they do want you to get testings done before the transfer. Like I'm sure he's gonna want me to have an EKG, because this is what he wanted the last time. I'm sure he probably gonna want a letter from the maternal fetal medicine giving permission for me to have a child. These are the things that I know that he's probably going to require. So I'm okay with it. I really had a good connection with my maternal fetal medicine doctor, because he felt like I had did really well with carrying my last pregnancy at my age. And the only concerns that they had, of course, was my pre-existing conditions. You know, I already have hypertension, I already have diabetes, so these ain't conditions that were developed as a result of pregnancy. These are conditions that I already have that can get out of control as a result of pregnancy. And one of the things that I read, you know, doing my research of women getting pregnant at my age, is that we have a high risk of delivering preterm babies because of these type of conditions, and having a higher risk of developing these conditions even if we didn't have them before. So even if I didn't have hypertension and diabetes, the risk of me developing that due to my age is very high. So in those instances, I can see the doctors being a little concerned, because I already have these issues. You know, even though these issues are well controlled with the medication, a lot of those medications that I take now, I cannot take while pregnant. And so that's one of the concerns that the doctors have. You know, if you get pregnant, they just knew for sure that by the time I got 5 months pregnant, that my blood pressure was going to be, I mean, not my blood pressure, my diabetes was going to be way out of control. They was willing to bet on that, but I showed them different. And the way I showed them different is that if I had never been diligent with how I eat and exercise and carry myself before, I was able to show them while being pregnant. It's something about being pregnant that we tend to take, you know, our health into more consideration than we would do any other time. So even though I know I have diabetes, I know that there are certain things that I shouldn't be eating or drinking or whatever, I do it anyway. You know, even though I know I have diabetes, I know I should be monitoring my sugars by taking pricking my finger every day. I don't do it, you know. But when I was pregnant, it was different. When I was pregnant, I don't know if it was the maternal instinct. I knew that I had a baby inside of me. I knew I had to do it for this baby. But every single day, I took my blood sugars 3 times a day. And if my blood sugar went above what it's supposed to be for a pregnant mom, I made sure that the next day I changed up that diet. I don't do that now, and probably never did that in the past. So it's just something about being pregnant that makes you look at your health a lot better than you would if you wasn't pregnant. So that was the reason why I was able to show them that I can carry this pregnancy healthy, you know. And the goal, of course, was to be able to deliver a healthy full-term baby, but unfortunately we couldn't keep the blood pressure under control. But I'm gonna let it be known that it wasn't the pregnancy that had my blood pressure out of control. It was definitely not the pregnancy that had my blood pressure out of control. It was the things that was going on in my personal life that had my blood pressure out of control. So I don't want to get into that. I may have talked about that in the past on other videos, but yeah, I was going through some personal things at that time. It was very stressful to a point where there were days that I just cried. There were days where I could not sleep, and it was just causing my blood pressure to be through the roof. You know, even though I tried my darnest not to let it get to me the way that it did, some things is just out of your control. So I believe that is the reason why my blood pressure got out of control. In the end, there was nothing really wrong with the baby itself. It was just me. And because of my age, the doctors was concerned about me, you know, concerned about the fact that if he allowed me to be pregnant with a blood pressure out of control, at any moment I can have a stroke, heart attack, or what have you, and he didn't want that to happen, so it was their decision to go ahead and deliver me early. Excuse me, I got this AC on, and it's pretty cold. So yeah, but So I'm hoping that they do take the last pregnancy into consideration and see that I did well with maintaining my pre-existing conditions, keeping them under control. I didn't start having blood pressure problems until I got like 30, how many weeks was I? I think I was about 33 weeks pregnant when I started having blood pressure problems. And then at 35 weeks is when I had her. So yeah. And some people probably is wondering why I'm deciding to go with a second transfer. Well, couple reasons. One, not only do I want to give Pebbles a sibling more close to her age, but Pebbles being the only child of mine born and created differently than the other kids, I don't want her to feel like the odd person. Like, why do my brothers and my sisters have a dad and dad's side of the family and I don't have that? I don't want her to be the only one. If I give her a sibling that create a sibling for her the same way I created for her, then she will understand that I didn't just do this, you know, with her. I did this with the other baby too, and they will always grow up and have each other, you know. And I noticed the difference in her demeanor when my grandkids come over. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old grandchildren that comes over and they play with her, and she's just such happy-go-lucky and try to run up behind them like she they size and they age. And then when they leave, she totally different. I be loving it when they come over because they keep her company and I don't have to worry about her whining, wanting to be picked up and, you know, want some extra attention. You know, she's supposed to want that extra attention. She's only a baby. She's only 1 year old, but it makes a big difference when my grandkids is over. So I really think she needs a sibling that's more close to her age. And, you know, a lot of my friends was telling me that before I got pregnant with her. They was like, well, you know, you're going to have to turn around and have another. I was like, no, you know, one is enough. I'm not going to do another one. And then I knew how my kids was going to feel about it. And trust me when I say my kids are not on board with me having a second transfer like they was when I had Pebbles. So this may be one of the pregnancies I have to have until I'm not able to have no more. So yeah, but anyway, I am going to cut this video short for now because I am finally pulling up to the RE, I'm sorry, the OBGYN. I don't know where I get the RE from. I'm already 5 minutes late. I was supposed to be here at 2:30. It's 2:35. And I'm gonna go in here, see what he say. Also talk to him about this crazy cycle of mine, and I'm gonna tell y'all about that too when I get back in the car. Okay, ladies? I'll be right back. Give me a second. Hey guys, I'm back. Just left the OBGYN. My doctor is so hilarious. So most of what he and I was talking about was this crazy cycle of mine. You know, I don't know if I'm heading towards perimenopause or what. And you know, he agreed that that's a possibility. Only he has some concerns about, you know, how I was explaining my cycles each month, how it was happening. He was saying that if it's not perimenopause, it could be something else. So when he went in to do the vaginal exam, he did see some polyps on the outside of the cervix, which I did not even know you can get polyps on the outside of the cervix. He said, yeah, it's called cervical polyps. I said, okay, something that I need to go Google and find out what that means. But so as a result, he wants to do a full pelvic ultrasound to just make sure I don't have polyps on the inside of the uterus. So he wanted me to come back actually tomorrow and do the ultrasound, but I don't want to come back tomorrow because I have a dentist appointment tomorrow, as well as I have other appointments, and then next week I'll be leaving out of town. So I told them that, you know, I need you guys to just give me till sometime in July to get it done. So I'm gonna go back towards the middle of July and have that ultrasound done and see how that is. You know, it's always best to know ahead of time, so if it's something they need to correct, they can correct it right away. Hopefully, you know, it's not a case of polyps and it's just a case of me going through perimenopause, but I don't know. He was saying that usually the cause of cervical polyps is because of sexual activity. Well, I haven't been sexually active since before I gave birth, so that cannot possibly be the cause of these polyps. So it's got to be other reason why I have these polyps. So I don't think it has nothing to do with sex. But, you know, again, every time they tell me something is wrong, I always go to Dr. Google and try to find out for myself what really causes these type of issues, and, you know, what are the treatment for them. So I know in advance when a doctor starts talking to me about what they want to do and how they're going to do it, I know whether or not I should go through with it. Now, as far as talking to him about a referral back to the RE, I didn't have to bring the conversation up to him. Looks like he brought the conversation up to me before I can bring it up to him. He actually had asked me, am I planning on having another baby? And I told him yes. So he didn't really have nothing to say about it. And then I just, you know, whispered to him and said, this time I don't want a C-section. He was like, well, he said, as long as everything is okay, you don't have to have a C-section. You can have a regular birth. You know, and at that point, it made me feel good, because I'm like, okay, he on board with this. He not trying to fight it or say, no, I don't think you should go through with it or nothing like that. And so I was glad that he responded that way. So I said, well, you know that you have to send my RE a referral so I can go and have the transfer done. He want me to monitor my cycle for the next 6 months. And I said, well, if I do have a transfer, I plan to have the transfer in September, October. He said, okay, that's fine. Just monitor it, you know, up until you get pregnant. And, you know, I just want to see what's going on with your menstrual cycles. I said, okay, so I'm going to start monitoring that, because I had monitored my cycle since before I was trying with naturally getting pregnant instead of, you know, IVF or anything, because you really don't need to monitor it for that. But so yeah, he seemed to be on board with it. He had his nurse to go ahead and send a referral over. So the next people I should hear from is the RE clinic, which, you know, like I said, the first visit is always a consult visit where they just discuss, you know, what you want to do, how you want to do it. I just want to make sure everything that needs to be done, I have plenty of time to get it done. Like, for example, if they do find polyps, then you have plenty of time to get in there and get them polyps out. Because this is what happened when I had the water sino. They did find one polyp in there, and I had to go have surgery just to have that one polyp removed, because that one polyp was actually in the spot where they usually implant the embryo when they do the transfer. So I just got to make sure that I don't have any polyps at all, so that when it's time for me to have the transfer, then I can be successful on the first try and not have to come back and do a second try. I mean, if I have to come back, at least I got 4 times to try. But, you know, so yeah, guys, that is where I am now. And I will be updating you guys in the weeks to come to let you know how my ultrasound went, as well as how my first visit with the RE goes. So that will probably be, I'm gonna probably combine those 2 videos together. And I got a trip coming up. This is my first trip of the year, you know, as the pandemic is trying to slow itself down. And it is my birthday, so I plan to go and celebrate my birthday with all of my children and grandchildren, except for two. That's my grandson and my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter couldn't get off of work to go, and my grandson unfortunately is not able to go, so they'll be the only two that won't be joining us on this birthday celebration trip that's coming up. But I do plan to video all the fun that we are having in the celebration, so you guys can see what I did for my birthday. So that will probably be the next video that I show you guys. And then after that video, it will probably be my second TTC video, okay? So I will be talking to you guys later. And again, prayers is going out to those who are going through this journey as well. Fingers crossed to those who are getting ready to have a transfer or a IVF treatment cycle starting, wherever you at in your journey. I'm praying for you guys. Like they say, you pray for me, I pray for you, and we gonna make these babies and get what we want, okay? Love you guys. Bye.